Alright, this is pretty exciting. Just got to the body shop here and picked up the frame for my 1940 UH from getting repainted. It was just recently repaired and I took it to the body shop right away. And so now we're going to work on getting this back home to the shop and then we'll start talking about this thing. So stay tuned here. Hello, it's Jesse here, and we got the frame back to the shop here now, and we kind of went looking over it. Turned out pretty good, nice and shiny black. And yeah, anyway, here it is. I'm happy with the overall repair that was done on this frame, and the finish of the paint. The finish of the paint's really nice too. Anyway, I just got done looking over here, so let's talk about a few things about it. Alright, so a couple weeks ago I had got this frame back from having a few things fixed at a frame repair shop. They used a frame jig to repair it. When it arrived, I just checked a couple key areas on this frame to make sure some things fit properly. We did some measurements and everything came out correctly. It has been repaired to factory specs. With all the dimensions and factory type castings, like the floorboard mounts down here. Got the sidecar loops up here. A lot of people cut them off back in the day, so I had to have them fixed. A lot of people cut them off to that way they could put forward controls on and stuff, and got rid of the floorboard mounts. So them got accurately put back. So anyways, I guess I got the back here. I got the toolbox mount, the correct one for 1940, put here, replaced. I got some pretty much ready. I feel like it's safe to say I'm ready to start putting this together. Let's just put it that way. So otherwise, I got my fingers crossed that it goes back together really good. Seeing as how it should go back together really nice and easy. Because I'm not doing anything with special fabrication and stuff. So anyways, so I've been waiting for this to come back for close to a year now. So I ran into the body shop after we did some those key area pre-fits, like the rear wheel and stuff. I did some measurements, transmission of course, and everything came out right. So I thought it was safe to say to paint it. So it's painted with an epoxy gloss black, really strong stuff. It's like super strong. It's kind of like the original black, like that was back in the day. It was a little bit glossy. Anyway, it's kind of like just like my front end I had painted. You saw the video before this one. The front end was painted the same color, the same type of paint. So anyway, so you haven't really missed a lot. So now if this bike was not going back to stock, of course, and if this was a special build and needed the mounts in special areas, well, I would have done things differently, of course, obviously. So definitely during a special construction build, you always assemble everything first, take it apart, and then have it painted. But this is kind of different. This is practically a bone stock restoration. So the frame just needs to be put back to factory specs, and everything should go right where it belongs. So I guess we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed, like I said earlier. So what makes this a 1940 Harley Davidson motorcycle frame, big twin, there's a few certain things like the forged neck up here. This neck here is a special forged component here. And anyways, it has a 28-degree rake in 1940. So that means that this part here, where it goes like this, the angle of the front end, sits at a certain degree or whatever, that's the rake. So this is set up for 28 degree, which makes it a 40. If it was anything else, it'd be a 41 and later, because they changed it in 41. So also the toolbox bracket is a very key component here for a 1940 frame. Anyways, according to the parts book print, this has a cross bracket that's held on by three bolt holes here at the top. It's actually held, according to the print here in the parts book, it talks about how it's held in with screws. So, of course, it has part numbers here and everything. This bracket says 41 in the part number, but according to the readout here, it talks about how it's from 40 to 48. Now, what makes a difference here is the toolbox itself bracket here that's welded to the frame. In 39 and older bikes, it has two circles here, two circle mounts only, top and bottom. And in 1939, that all changed when they stopped doing that, and they went to this bracket in 40. So, to hold on a different style toolbox, the kidney shaped one, which we see to this day. So this started in 1940, went all the way to like, there's a little bit of modifications on this, the ones that are on soft tails and stuff, but it's pretty much the same toolbox. So according to this book, it talks about how it's held on with screws, a lock washer, and a hex nut. I have seen some bikes out there that have rivets held in there with that, but it's kind of hard to say what's what because the Palmer book doesn't really go into detail on what the actual correct way of holding it on is. But we'll get to this print here, or this prototype picture here, and we'll start talking about this motorcycle frame here some more. So anyway, now with this frame mounted bracket, the three holes at the top make it correct for 1940 to 1947 frames, which of course, like I said, it was new for the 1940 kidney type shaped toolbox that mounts there. The frame repair place that I had to replace this bracket with the correct one, and then someone took off back in the day. It happens. This kind of stuff happens when people custom their bikes back in the day and stuff. So this is important for correctness because 1940, all the brackets do not have the single round holes like I was saying. And the one on top and the one at the bottom like I was saying. According to this archive photo here, we can see here that in this Palmer book, the bracket here does not have a hole in the bottom here. Can't see very well in this picture, but there's no hole there. Why is that important? Because a lot of there's some bikes out there that they say that they're 1940 bikes, but they'll have a rectangle toolbox there. That's what gets put on there with the round holes. And the round holes were in 39 and older bikes only. For the rectangular box, which it shows in the picture here. 39 older bikes, 36 to 39. So anyway, so I mean, if you see this toolbox on a 1940 motorcycle, I'd question it. Then I guess and be cautious or whatever. But well, I won't go into all the boring details here. But otherwise, this video would be over like an hour long. So anyway, I can spread some of the information that we're going over as we build this bike, because this bike is about ready to start getting put back together now that we got the frame back and painted and everything. So, yeah, so it looks pretty nice. But anyway, we're going to start off by installing the neck cups here coming up. We'll put them in the front here. They go right in top and bottom for the front bearing. Toolbox bracket gets mounted in the back here, like I was saying. The transmission plate and all the parkerized hardware and stuff to hold it on. And it goes there, of course. We're going to be getting close to putting all this together. So stay tuned, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed all this. So I sure did. Glad it came back. Looks great. So stay tuned. Alright, here we are. We're back. Ready to put the cups in. Got this special kind of homemade installation tool here. Let's see how that works. And then we're going to put the plate on, the transmission plate on. Got all the hardware laid out here. And we're going to put on the rear toolbox, the toolbox bracket here in the rear. So, otherwise, we're going to wait on this part here because this actually mounts the transmission. This is a transmission adjusting plate, and then the bolt that goes on the transmission, and then the two bolts here to hold that on. I'll wait on that. But here's what I was talking about earlier on the holding this bracket on. The print shows a round head, slotted screw, 3 of them, 052 old part number, and of course a 1/4 inch parkerized lock washers, and then 0109 old part number with the machined surface there, of course, parkerized hex nuts. So we will be doing it this way, not with rivets, just because that's the way the print shows it in the parts book. Like I said, I can't tell which the actual correct way to hold it on is, but the parts print was made for a purpose, and well, we're going to copy it. So since I can't find any actual documents anywhere else saying otherwise, so even in that Palmer book. So I got a chart here to help me out with what to torque these all at. Of course, on the front here, when we put this plate on, it's going to be held in, the bolt comes through the bottom according to print, comes up, then the castle nuts on the back here, it'll sit there like that, and then we tighten it to a certain spec I think I'll go with, and then tighten it a little bit more to make sure it lines up with the hole in the bolt here, and one of these grooves, because we have to put a pin in there to lock it, can't turn it loose. That's exactly how the print looks in this. Shows in the print there. I'm going to copy it. So stay tuned, and as we get ready to put in, we'll start off with the neck cups. So stay tuned here as I get this set up to do this. Okay, so I put some a little bit of some grease on here just so they kind of go in relatively easily, hopefully. I go to pull them together with that tool. So anyway, just take this apart here, and then slide the one piece in through the top here. Make sure it lines up nice with the cup. I want it to be as straight as possible. And then, of course, we're gonna install the bottom one here. So I need to use 2 hands, so hold on as I get this all set up here. Alright, so I got it all lined up here. It's not just front and back alignment you gotta have left and right also. So here we got front and back. This is pretty parallel with the cup here. And then left and right, this is pretty parallel. Both top and bottom are set up that way. And then, yeah, so now we're just going here with a couple wrenches and pull it together. I mean, it's a simple process. Hopefully it works. This is a 1/2 inch all thread 24 thread, and then 1/2 inch nuts, of course. Couple pieces of aluminum bar stock that I just cut and then had I put together here. Did this my spare time here with some extra material that I had come up with. So anyways, yeah, let's go ahead and try cranking this together and see what happens here. So stay tuned. Alright, I got them going in a little bit pretty good, so I think we're in just a little bit, probably about right here. Not very far, but that's kind of what the procedure is here. We just gotta like crank them together with a couple of wrenches, and it pulls them in. But you gotta make sure that when you're pulling them in, you're pulling them in straight, so you're watching everything as you're cranking them in. You don't want to just go to town on it and then get them all in there and pop in all crooked and stuff. It's bad. So stay tuned while I work on this. Alright, so seeing as how these are in here and they're in pretty straight, they kind of like self-guide themselves in as well. So instead of like using wrenches now, we can actually use a tool, impact driver, electric one or something, because they're pretty much self-guiding as soon as they get kind of started. So alright, so then we're just stay tuned here, and we're gonna finish putting these in until they're flush, and then next time you see that, well, you should probably have it pretty much done by then. So stay tuned here. Alright, so there we go. We got the neck cups in. They're nice and flush in there. So the tool worked out. So stay tuned here. Alright, so here we are. We're going to try putting this plate in here. There's a couple different plates throughout the years. This is the earlier one because it has the hole closer in the center here. The later one has a hole out here because they changed this bracket about 50 something, 58 I think it was. Anyways, gonna run the bolts up to the bottom here, and then we'll fasten it all in. So stay tuned here. Oh, here, hold, yeah. So we got these torqued down to 29 foot-pounds, and we're finishing them up here. And we went in a pattern, kind of like you do wheels. And now we're working on trying to get the holes lined up in this castle nut. So
which way do we gotta go?
We gotta go.
Is it right here?
Yeah, it's right here. So it's gotta go this direction.
That's loose. You want to loosen or you want to tighten?
Well, we're just gonna. Well, let's see what. Okay, that's good. Let's see what that looks like. A little bit farther. I hate to go too much with it for tightness, and yeah, there we go. We should be able to get the cotter pin in now.
Actually, no. It goes like that.
Whoops. Okay. Yeah, but you're supposed to bend this. You're supposed to bend that.
Bend it up.
Okay. Yeah, we're ready to bend them up then. So yeah, we just went in a star pattern. Like we started here and then went here, and then we went here, and then we went back here until it torqued down to 29, 30 foot-pounds. So now we're just gonna bend these cotter pins over. So stay tuned. There we go. All right. Stay tuned here. Well, we were going to put this on, but I think we're going to wait until we get the oil tank put in and stuff. So that's coming up here. So this pretty much prepares the frame for assembly, putting stuff in. So other than we got to put a greaser in here, which we'll worry about when we put the seat post or the seat pogo stick style seat assembly in. And then we get a greaser down here for the shaft, for the brake shaft here. But we'll worry about that when we start putting brake stuff together. But yeah, everything is ready to go here. So for our next step. So hope you enjoyed this and stay tuned. Alright, so I just got on moving this frame off the table over out of the way for right now. But I forgot to mention a couple things. And I want to cover that. The seat post bushing. We replaced this one here. It was bad and wore out. They're pretty simple to remove and replace. You just gotta like get in here with a bearing remover tool or a claw with a slide hammer attachment and pull it right out. It's easier said than done, but it does come out fairly easy usually. And then Well, it's a pretty simple installation too. You just line up the hole. There's two holes, one in the back here, and there's another one back over here. And you just line up with the greaser hole here that you gotta put the greaser in. And you don't have to, but it makes more sense just to try to line them holes up, because then you have direct grease coming right in, and then whatever extra that doesn't come in, it spreads around the outside because there's a groove on the outside. I should have showed you this when I put them in, but yeah, there's a groove all around the outside of it, if you're not familiar with that. And then the other bushings down here on the rear brake cross shaft here. Removal is pretty simple. You just come in from one side and hammer the other side out, and then come back this way and push this other side out. Works out pretty good that way. Or you could try to pull it out with a claw and a slide hammer attachment thing. And then there's no holes to line up with these, but you just press them in or push them in with like a hammer or maybe like a socket or something. Should have showed the process that we went through when we did that, but anyway, once you get them installed, you just got to make sure that the shaft will go in there and spin freely and come in and out. We'll show all that stuff later when we go to put the rear brake stuff on, but you'll have to ream it sometimes or sand them down a little bit with some sandpaper so you get them to fit really good. Same with like the seat post bushing too. There might get a little like a burr or something in there, so you want to like ream them out too, so the seat post can go in there and glide really nice and easy when you absorb some of the bumps in the road from the rigid frame. Okay, the other thing I needed to mention something about was this transmission adjustment plate. Now this is the correct one for this 1940 motorcycle, because it has the closer set of screws holes here, or bolt holes here, and then in 58 style plates they put a hole out here. The other thing is it's parkerized. These plates are always parkerized. They weren't really painted black, and they weren't chrome from the factory. They might have got painted black in the later years, in the later 50s, but this is correct for this year because it's parkerized. The other thing is the hardware. These are special. It's a colony kit. But anyways, it's a special nut that comes in the front here. It's a castle nut. You can see that it's got a cotter pin in it, like we did earlier in the video. But all these pre-1942 bolts. Sings House is a pre-1942 bike. Gets a machine head, like I mentioned before in some other videos, and they have a really nice machined. Got like a built-in washer there, like I've talked about before. So this, of course, has machine head. It doesn't say CP 1038 or CP 1035 or anything. That didn't happen until after 1942. So this is going to be correct for this year bike. And then, anyway, that kind of wraps up that little part I forgot to mention stuff about. So, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I got off the table because we got some other stuff going on around here. We're working on a transmission right now. It's coming up in another video down the road. And then we're still working on that old 71 Triumph motor yet. So there's some stuff coming up. So stay tuned. And hope you enjoyed this. And now we're just pretty much ready. Yeah, we're ready to start putting this thing back together, but got some other stuff I gotta do first. So stay tuned and see you again soon.